Welcome to Hotel Room Review, and today we're reviewing a room with a little bit of a difference. Instead of a hotel room, we're actually reviewing a room on the sleeper train, the Caledonian sleeper, that travels from Glasgow to Euston, obviously overnight. Now today's review has been asked for by someone who contacted me and asked if I could actually review the Caledonian sleeper. Unfortunately, I don't travel on this train and cannot see myself doing so in the near future. However, a colleague of mine has been travelling on it quite regularly, as he lives near Glasgow and obviously works in London, so been using that train quite regular. So I've sat down with him, I've managed to get a couple of photographs, but also discussed the train with him and the things that he likes or dislikes with it. So that way we'll be doing a slightly different room review, but at least we'll be doing a review of the Caledonian sleeper. The first thing my colleague talks about when he discussed with me about the sleeper train was not necessarily the room itself, but the whole experience. So before he actually tucked himself up for the night in the cabin, the early evening part was actually spent in the bar, when there would be other people who are travelling on the train, often single businessmen who were working in London travelling on the train, and they would actually spend some time chatting in the bar over a drink. And this particular social side of the train was something that he particularly enjoyed. So he would have a chance to talk to people, and obviously when you're talking to complete strangers, you get to find out things, it becomes very interesting. So the social side is certainly something that he wanted me to highlight as part of this review. But looking at the room in general, and the first picture we've got here is obviously the bunk bed. There are two bunks, both at ground level, but one on each side of the cabin, and they are obviously single. Now, in the second picture, it does show that to get the maximum leg room for people who obviously need that more leg room, there is a desk at the end, not particularly for working on, but certainly for placing a few items while you sleep, but your legs actually fit underneath that desk, so you do get the maximum of room available for your legs when you're lying down. The only downside to this, obviously having a single bunk at each side of the carriage, the problem is that when you're travelling alone and you book just the one bed, then you can find yourself sharing with a stranger, someone you don't know, who's travelling alone, obviously uses the bed on the other side. So if you're not too keen on that way of travel, that obviously is one of the downsides. However, when you're travelling along, one of the areas that my colleague did point out is that you do get a good night's sleep. The motion of the train as it's travelling through down to London, it seems to rock him to sleep on a night. It's just that gentle swaying of the train seems to aid for a better night's sleep. And as he's talked to people on the train, they all seem to mention the same thing, that they do get a good night's sleep. And obviously when they wake up in London at around about 6:30 in the morning when the train arrives, then they do feel well refreshed. Now the train arrives around 7:30 in the morning, 6:30 in the morning, but they do have an hour to get themselves ready, to get out, to obviously get washed before they get dressed, and leave the train. So it's not a case that the train pulls up into Euston and you need to be out pretty much straight away. You do get an hour to actually get yourself ready, have some breakfast and get off the train. So all in all, he enjoys the experience. He's done it many times and plans to carry on using the Caledonian sleeper. It does have its downsides if you're travelling alone, but other than that, he finds it a nice social experience with people talking to them in the bar, and then obviously a nice way to travel down from Glasgow overnight into London, and particularly arriving early allows him then to be at work for a full day's work. Okay, so I'd like to thank you for watching this room review. It's slightly one with a difference, and if anyone would like to see any particular chain of hotel or an overnight stop, then please get in touch as this person did and suggest, and if possible then try to do a review of that room. So again, thank you very much for watching.